What if I told you the price of oil isn't what you pay at the pump? Because there is another number. Billions of dollars every single year just to clean up the damage. Estimates suggest the United States spends around $8 billion annually dealing with fossil fuel cleanup. And if I'm running for president, we don't ignore the full cost. Because energy isn't just about production, it's about consequences. Oil spills, coal ash contamination, water systems push past their breaking point, and those costs don't disappear. They get passed to taxpayers, to communities, to families. So today, we're breaking down the hidden price of fossil fuels, not theory, reality. And before we go deeper, if you want leadership that looks at the full picture, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this conversation matters. Now let's make it personal. I spent 12 years in Corpus Christi, Texas, and during that time, there were multiple water advisories, 9 boil water notices, 3 don't look at it, don't touch it, don't drink it, don't bathe your car with it, nothing. Not wash your car with it, not give it to your pets, not even come in contact with it. That's not abstract policy. That's daily life. And every one of those events has costs. Emergency response, system repair, lost business, public health risks, and here's the reality. We don't even fully calculate those costs when we talk about energy. Now scale that up. Major spill sites like Deepwater Horizon in the Gulf of Mexico, billions spent on cleanup. Long-term damage to fisheries, tourism, ecosystems. Or Exxon Valdez, decades later. Impacts still linger. There aren't one-time costs. They stretch out over years, sometimes generations. Coal brings its own problems. Coal ash filled with toxic heavy metal stored in ponds across the country. When those fail or leak, they contaminate groundwater and rivers. Cleanup isn't quick, it's expensive, and it's ongoing. Again, costs that really show up in the price of energy. And then there's air pollution. Harder to see, but just as real. Healthcare costs, lost productivity, chronic illnesses. These are part of the fossil fuel equation too. They don't show up on your receipt, but they show up in your hospital bills and in lives affected. So let's talk numbers. If we're spending roughly $8 billion a year on cleanup and response, over 10 years, that's $80 billion. And that's a conservative estimate because it doesn't fully account for major disasters or long-term health and environmental damage. So now connect this to the last video. We already know how many renewable sources are cheaper to produce. And now we see fossil fuels are more expensive to clean up. Higher on the front end, higher on the back end. That's not efficiency. That's a losing equation. And that is where leadership matters. Because ignoring hidden costs doesn't make them disappear. It makes them grow. If I'm running for president, we don't just ask what energy costs today. We ask what it costs tomorrow and 10 years from now. Because the future isn't free, but it can be smarter. This is Scott for 2028, because the future is not optional. I will see you next time.